This is the week. I have to start this message saying this is the week that something is going to be revealed to you, something is going to be deeply illuminated. I'm hearing there's never been a time like the present, like the eternal now. So a huge theme that you're going to see occur this week is some type of illumination on your path. When I say illumination, it could be clarity that will be emerging. I'm also seeing it as sudden insights, epiphanies, things that could bring about unexpected revelations. And there's another keyword that's coming through. One of them is a revolt. So that's going to be an interesting one. We're gonna dive into that real quick. Revolt and a reverberation that happens. Let me go ahead and streamline that real quick so that we can continue the message, because that is a really important one to hook onto. But anyway, we have a 𝓬𝓰 taking place, right? Hold on. Revolt definition, which is where Mercury is seated in the heart of the sun, and there's an internal communication that happens in the subterranean depths of your own heart. It's intercommunication with plasma. Plasma is something that emits photons. Photons are light waves and pieces of information that are received, especially internally, that shift the way you relate to your journey on Earth. Or I'm seeing a mission or something that's streamlining, some type of direction in your material existence, something that you're desiring to kind of plant during this time, especially because there's a lot of aspects and that are happening with Ceres right now, which is the goddess of agricultural cycles. I'm just seeing it as a new season that's emerging. Anyway, to revolt is an act of resistance or rebellion against authority, control, oppression, or a system people no longer agree with. So it's definitely giving very strong Uranus energy. This could be you kind of doing something that's unexpected. Then that's the reverberation that's sent out, right? Because reverberation is energy that's kind of sent out, but then it's also amplified and it echoes. So I'm seeing it as a rebellious streak. This week, you could be being called to do something that leads to you being like a rebel, but one with a cause. Maybe you're rebelling against like I'm just seeing some kind of system. I'm seeing larger system at hand. But it's kind of leading to a breakthrough energy. We're going to read on this. Just give me a second so that we can decode this together. So revolt as a verb is to rise up against or strongly reject something. So it could be corruption. It could be rejecting old conditioning, which I definitely see. Maybe you're going to be breaking away from any kind of limiting systems, like old belief systems of the old self. Because the thing is, as we emerge into a new identity, what happens is that between this self and this one, right, the version of who you are and the version of self that you're becoming, there is this detachment when it comes to belief systems that this version of self held. Sometimes that's also translates into personal relations or just ways of being that are inadequate. I'm also seeing ways of being that are not allowing you to embody or embrace the version of you that's powerful beyond measure, right? And incongruent, okay, that are not completely aligned. And I'm just seeing this swaying. I keep seeing the swaying of the trees or the seasons or the cycles. And you could be refusing to reject your own power any longer, especially because we have a new moon in Taurus that's happening pretty soon on the 16th this week as well. And that's going to be also conjunct Algol, which is a fixed stance in Medusa energy, which is this descent that happens, a transformation behind the scenes, and then you resurface or reemerge unrecognizable, right? It's a huge transformation. Same thing with Ceres. Ceres is Demeter in Greek mythology, who is also Hathor in ancient Egyptian mythology. But, Demeter was the goddess of agricultural cycles, and so she was deeply linked to abundance in these cycles that happen. And she had this daughter called Persephone that was one day playing in the spring fields, and Hades came through and abducted her and brought her to the underworld. And she ate half of the pomegranate seeds that were given to her. If she had eaten the whole thing, then she would have had to spend an eternity in the underworld as the queen of the underworld. And because she only ate half, she was able to strike a deal. Hermes was able to strike a deal with him, and they agreed to basically for her to spend 6 months of the year in the mortal realm and 6 months in the year with Hades in the underworld. But the whole story of it is that it's about the seasons of the soul, the cycles of the soul, and this transformation that happens and this shadow integration where when she does surface back into the mortal realm, she's no longer the innocent girl that she entered into that energy with. So I'm seeing that with you, where you can't go back to the version of self that you were because you simply have had too much experience, you've gained too much knowledge, you've gained too much wisdom to go back or revert. It's like once you see yourself clearly in this system or what it is that you're here for, right? It's like your two biggest days are the one that you seed onto this planet. The second one is when you remember why. It's a quote by Mark Twain. And you're coming into alignment with your why, right? It's like your why is leading you towards the where you want to go. And that is I'm hearing a force to be reckoned with. Anyway, so speaking more about the 𝓂𝓤𝓪, it does feel like that there's like illumination that's happening around what truly matters for you. And Taurus energy is, it's slow, it's productive, it's grounded, and it's also knowing that nature does not rush, yet everything is still accomplished type of energy, right? So it's this earthy, anchored, grounded movement or illumination. It's coming to you through a sense of just knowing something that you just deeply know within the entirety of your being. That's what I'm seeing happen for you. So it's a deeper perspective of the soul that is coming into this remembrance between what is actually sustainable for the spirit on your journey, because that's going to be the golden elixir during this time that is going to sustain you on this journey that will be unfolding through the choices that you'll be called to make from this revelation. That's what I'm seeing for you. So we're definitely going to read on this energy, but I'm seeing it as, Taurus energy is a lot to do with deep value. So anywhere that you've been undervaluing yourself, I'm also hearing like under-marketing, underselling yourself or your own gifts or abilities, maybe where fear has been governing your decision making, especially in themes around your relationship to money, your relationship to finances or abundance, or things that you want to be able to experience, and where your body has still been holding on to those scarcity themes, right? So any relationships also that no longer align with your values will be collapsing during this time. There could be an illumination around what is misaligned, because any relationships that are built, whether that's a relationship to work, a relationship to a person, a thing, a place that is built on misaligned values will collapse. And it's because there is this illusion or this, let's just say, a compromisation. Something is compromised, the foundation is compromised, and what you're building is not going to be sustained upon that foundation. So that's what I'm seeing. It could be your value system shifting. I'm kind of seeing like a game of Tetris right now. And so it's an understanding of what it is that you actually want to build long term, what it is that the soul desires to experience in the physical realm, and certain action that you're being called to take or make that's going to be that you're going to be informed about right now. That's what's going to happen on the 𝓂𝓤𝓪. Oh, I completely forgot to say that if you realize that you've been chasing something that doesn't really feed your soul, that's also going to become evident to you today. I'm going to quickly read to you the Sabian symbol translation, which is at 23 degrees of Taurus. And that is an Aquarian degree, right? So it's very electrified. It can definitely bring about things that are unexpected, which is actually very much in tune with the keyword that we received. So Aquarian undertone energies can bring sudden insights, future-orientated thinking, unexpected realizations, and flashes of genius that can completely alter the direction that you're heading in. You may also suddenly detach from old fears and see your life from a much higher perspective. And it's a transit that asks for mastery. The Sabian imagery is tied to this degree, and it speaks about conquest, authority, discipline, and control. So you could see themes advanced around power struggles. And I'm seeing that again with the fighting of your own intuitive abilities and feeling like you need to protect the things that you value, or the things that you've invested energy into. So the invitation is not domination over others, it's instead self-mastery. Where can you begin to lead your life consciously instead of just reacting from survival? And can you build your future from clarity instead of fear? Can you trust your inner voice enough to move differently? This is going to be about reclaiming authority over the mind. Reclaiming authority over the mind. It's a purification of thought and a wave of remembering. This can bring about conversations that suddenly shift your perspective, dreams and intuitive downloads, even like repeated synchronicities, like angel numbers, things of this nature. Definitely pay attention to the way that the universe is going to be speaking to you through literally everything around you, and realizations when it comes to security, stability, money, any kind of Taurus themes. So it's a truth that essentially arises that becomes impossible to ignore. That's what you can expect, right? So being able to choose to build something that is going to support a long-term vision or future goal that you have, and the version of self in which you're becoming. So some type of inspiration that will probably translate into some type of rooted action. Okay, when I say probably, the probability will be you, right? Around if you're actually going to act upon this insight. Let's go and see what the insight is with Kazemi. I want to take a look at a Cosmos of the Oracle message. Yeah, I see you. Okay, right. Okay, right. Look what came out, right? Okay. Your fusion, but then at the base, what gets me hyped is you have quantum entanglement. Oh, if you know, you know. If you don't, let me catch you up to speed. Fusion, I'll read it. It talks about aspects A and B, right? And your inner workings of A and B. I see it as the ego, the physical vessel that becomes a conduit, it becomes a divine instrument so that the soul can actually experience life on earth. It's our meat suit. And B is the inner workings of the soul. It's the non-physical, eternal essence in which we are that's experiencing these temporal moments through time, but remembering themselves as an eternal being. And A and B with fusion talks about something new that will be emerging. It's the mastery of the mind, the mastery of the emotional state that leads to mastery over matter. But it's about aligned action with the soul's intention, and that leading to not just really conducive timelines that are going to be opening up, but you becoming highly conducive, like your field being in a complete place of coherence because of the internal fusion, right? This is the triad. So you have the feminine intuition with the masculine embodiment, right? Supporting what your intuition is telling you during this time. And that leads to a force of creation flowing from you. Flowing, right? So union, creativity, alchemy, integration, birth, and innovation. Nuclear processes that keep the stars burning. The union of two or more parts to shape something new. This balance and union of force creates a new force that did not exist before. We knew the object A and its workings, right? So the ego. And we knew object B and its inner workings, but we had never before witnessed the creation that results in the combination of A and B, forming an AB that brings everything together. It's a new energy that's formed through union and communion. So if you think about a conjunction, it's two planets essentially fusing together, and that creates this very magnetic energy where just something, it's like some type of insight ends up becoming extreme. Not only do you feel magnetically pulled towards this thing, but what you seek also seeks you. This is something that is becoming very evident to the soul's journey, and just how important it will be to the translation in the material tangible realm. All right, anyway, the ability to create something beyond the known. What comes together is always totally beneficial to both parties. So both parties when it comes to abundance translating into a physical experience, but then also abundance in the soul nourishment that you receive through this. They're inseparable from one another. Born between love, between your parents, right? So you are that paternal and maternal figure. You are the one that is going to support, nourish, and protect. Okay. Number 3, the material realm, 3 and 4, and art modified. Then you have quantum entanglement, which is telepathic consciousness. Who is Hermes? Okay, Hermes, when we speak about mercurial energy, it's Odin. Odin is somebody that was hanging himself upside down on this tree of knowledge, and he was looking at the ruins of his life and seeing it from the lens of the soul. And so he represents an enlightened being because he's looking at himself through the perspective of a light being. He can recognize himself when he looks in the mirror. Now, there's also another significance to this because Hermes' energy is the traveler between the realms of the form and the formlessness. He represents someone that was able to move in the mortal realms as well as heaven and earth. And I'm seeing that for you with quantum entanglement. It's telepathic communication between you and your soul, essentially, right? The sun energy it's your core essence of the soul, but it also represents the ego and the physical vessel, and that fusing and some type of communication that's happening with your own soul. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Okay, the soul speaking to you, and with telepathic communication, it's just you're inseparable. It always has, but it just feels like that's becoming amplified, right? When something goes Kazemi, it goes through a rebirth. So you won't see yourself the same. I think it's going to be an idea that you have or some kind of download that you have that honestly you can't unsee. Imagine being shown your highest potential expression or reality. Seeing the version of self that experiences this like their normal, their everyday existence. And then being placed into your reality, your current now, coordinate within space-time. Okay, it's like this, right? Imagine being plucked from... All right, this is it. This is what's happening. Okay. I've spoken about this before. Imagine in your 2-dimensional world, you're this fish, and you only know right and left. Okay, you only know how to navigate this normal terrain, and then one day you have this alien extraterrestrial being, and it plucks you from your 2-dimensional world, places you inside of a fishbowl, and you're now above the river that you were previously immersed in. So you're now seated at a different level of understanding. You're now in the world of up. Before, you didn't have up and down. You didn't even know that was a thing. And you're in this realm where there's people, they're walking and they're breathing outside of water. Oh my gosh, that is completely new to me. I've never seen anything like that before. And you're just immersed in this whole new world. And then they take the fishbowl, they pour you back into the river, but you're now aware of the world of up and down. Before, again, you only knew right and left. You only knew what was in this line. You have a whole different access point now. That's what's happening. You go and you tell all your friends, oh my God, da-da-da happened, da-da. Silence is going to be its own transmission during this time. When I tell you, when consciousness expands into new dimensions, it can no longer return back to its old form. There is something that you're going to see that you can't unsee. There's something that you're going to feel innately within every single fiber of your being, down to the cellular level, that you just can't unfeel it. Whatever this is, it's like something's being revealed around your own soul's journey. And to go back to the way that things once were, you know, that's what this is, right? That's what this is. So I'm going to get one more message for you. We'll get I think that is, trust what it is that you received today. Let's get a Gateway of the Light activation message. I keep hearing Shaman's Dream. Soul Star, it's so good. It's so good, right? It's so good. But it's ridiculous. If you don't know UK sense of humor, we say that something is ridiculous when it's ridiculously good, all right? It's a level of sarcasm, but it's also unbelievable and you better believe it kind of energy, right? It's sentence enhancers. Soul star activation, fulfilling soul contracts, remembering who you are. This is an energy where prolonged embodiment within the human experience can lead to one forgetting their etheric origins. And so we can go into this amnesia where consciousness falls asleep, but Horus is a fractal of infinite potential, right? And he is a fractal of awareness that immerses itself into the system. He goes on this descent, but then he becomes transformed because consciousness begins waking up. And once it wakes up to something, it can no longer return back to its old way of being. So it begins to behave very, very differently because the fractal of awareness is now conscious of itself. How would you move through this system always remembering that you are connected to everything? That's what higher heart is. Higher heart is, oh, this is what it's always been. Of course it is. This is what it always was. It's just that you're seeing it or yourself clearly now. Whatever this is, right? Let's go and get a shaman dream oracle message because I keep hearing it. A tidy house, clarity, and organization. So this is essentially a sign that you may choose to let go of some people when this ends up revealing itself to you, especially closing door here at the base. It's releasing yourself from what it is that you've known you needed to release yourself for a long time, but just hadn't received there's some cats fighting outside. So it could have been where you were resisting or fighting your own intuitive insights. Something that, yeah, the intuition was always telling you. So I'm seeing it as where there's been an internal struggle to even trust yourself and embracing the unknown. This is a day where you begin making friends with it because it's in the unknown and in the quantum that the magic lies. And it just feels like you're seated at the edge of a new discovery for the magical existence that's always been waiting for you to step into it. But it requires aligned action. You know the truth. How well will you embody, integrate it, and live according to it? Yeah, the cat's fighting outside right now. They're like, right. So no more fighting your intuition when it comes to this. It's it could be a big fat confirmation that you receive around it. All right, Mexico message. Yeah, let's get one. What gives color to my heart? Again, what is going to illuminate your heart? Your heart knows the way. It feels like your mind is going to be playing catch up for it, the linear mind. How do I cultivate the garden of my soul? That's this earth. If the earth was your garden, it was always your birthright to access all realms and lands and terrain within yourself that's holographically projected into what we call the world. So I'm gonna love and leave you right there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Until next time, bye.